Morning guys, it's Friday, so thought I'd bring a quick update as to where we're up to with the 205. It's been a long week, I'm not going to lie. I've put the hours into this car this week and I'm feeling it. It's Friday and I'm feeling it. So I thought I'd just do a quick rundown video on exactly where we're up to, what I've done, what I've been up to. Really happy with my progress this week, as much as I do feel tired end of the week. I've got to press on with this just because otherwise it's not going to be ready. As you can see, I've got stuff everywhere. So this is all my stuff ready to go back on the car. I'm pretty much done now with all this. I've got my hubs. I've got my steering rack. I've cleaned up all the drive shaft boots because they were actually okay. There's nothing wrong with those. Painted the ends of the drive shaft cups. I've painted the drive shafts themselves. I've just got to take all the masking tape off them. And I've had various other bits and bobs come through the post that are going to help me with this build. As far as the car itself goes, as you can see now, I made the decision earlier on in the week to actually take the engine out. I always said I wasn't going to do that, but good friend of mine came down and he kind of looked in the engine bay, and when I said what I was doing this week, he said, "Oh, so you're taking the engine out?" I said, "No, I'm not taking it out, but after looking at it, all I had left on there was an engine mount and a bit of wiring loom, so there was no reason not to take it out." So I pulled the engine, and as a result, I've been able to do a far better job. Not only that, but I've also made these extra bars which go from these bits that attach to my strut tops, this bit which obviously goes to the center, same on that side, and now they actually sell a kit online which has kind of this bracing in it. So with all that, I'm confident that this is going to make a massive improvement. Plus, it's going to look pretty nice. Yesterday, I got rid of the servo and master cylinder and made a plate for there. So that's all boxed off now. I did have through in the post yesterday, had my new pedal box, which is going to be really nice. Now, it's going to take a lot of getting used to. I've always been used to driving this car with a servo, so being non-servo assisted is going to take some getting used to once this is fitted and I'm used to it. I'm told I'm just going to have to kind of adapt my way of driving. So I've got in this box now, I've got my new pedal box, and then this comes with everything that I need to plumb it in. Basically, it's got 3 master cylinders, it's got 3 reservoirs, it's got everything in there that I need to be able to put this pedal box in the car. So that's going to be nice, because I'd always set up kind of a makeshift clutch pedal in this car, because the 205 from factory was cable driven. This is now hydraulic. I made a clutch pedal which did, and it's done me really well, but it was very, very ugly to look at. When you looked in the car, it looked awful. So the fact that I've now got this, which is also going to hopefully do a better job of my braking system, but it's also going to do a better job of my clutch as well. So I'm really looking forward to getting that fitted. The inside of the car is not a lot different. I haven't done a massive amount to the inside of the car this week. Still looks a mess, other than remove all the old pedals. The inside of this thing looks an absolute mess, so that's going to be on my hit list for next week. I've just took the engine outside. Gave it all a good degreasing and just a light spray off with the jet wash, just because I don't want to be putting a dirty engine back in a lovely clean engine bay. So there is bits on this engine that I need to touch up, but that looks far better. All these parts going back on, they shouldn't take too long. I reckon a day or so and I'll have most of them back on, and then it's going to be a case of stripping down the rear beam, taking that off, doing the rear section of the floor, and then yeah, that's the underside done. I need to make my fuel tank next week as well, so I'm going to have another busy week next week, but this is going to be a few weeks of hard work, but it's all going to be worth it. And then obviously I just need to hit that interior hard. Again, once that's in paint, there isn't an awful lot to go back in there, so that shouldn't take a long period of time. So I'm going to crack on. I'm going to get this masked off and then try and sort out my paint gun issue, and then we'll see where we get to by the end of the day. That's the first coat of high build primer put on there. Quite happy with that. Just remember guys, I ain't a painter, so if you spot any imperfections, I'm not a painter, but it'll do me. It's in an engine bay, it's going to be fine. I'm going to let this flash off now. I believe that's the term it's called. I'm going to let this flash off, and then I'm going to give it another coat. I'm using just a high build primer. I've mixed it 4:1. I'm told that's what I needed to do. I've got to give the engine bay a good Scotch-Brite, and I've thrown it on. So I don't know. Let's see how it turns out. I'm going to give it one more coat after this, and then I'm going to have to leave it overnight then really to dry. I was hoping to get paint on this today, but I've just watched a quick YouTube tutorial, as you do, about putting primer on, and the guy on there said ideally leave this overnight if you're gonna sand it, and I was planning on quickly again just going over this with Scotch-Brite just to flat any little imperfections out just before I chuck the paint on it. It's never going to be perfect, but it will certainly do me. I'm certainly happy enough with that. There was a few imperfections in this panel here, which the high build does seem to have taken out. And then, yeah, it looks fine to me. Like I say, I'll go over the top of this with, I've got 2-pack frozen white, which is what the car's painted in, Ford Transit frozen white. When I had this car painted, I asked for it to be painted in something that was going to be really easy to match if ever I had an accident or if ever I was doing something like this. So yeah, we just went with Ford Transit frozen white. I'm going to be doing obviously the inside of this car afterwards, so yeah, it's going to be easy to match. So I'm going to let this flash off now, and then I'm going to chuck another coat on it. Just had these turn up. Should be in here a pair of new Fairby Bilstein steering boots. Now this one's fine. I put these on when I refurbished the steering rack. I did this with a k20 quick rack, but while I was cleaning all this up stupidly, I didn't take the boot off, and I just, can you see, I just caught that there. So not being happy, knowing I'm going to have to come back to that at a later date if I didn't do it now. I ordered a brand new pair of boots, so I'm going to go ahead and get them fitted now. 2 new boots fitted, 2 new track rod ends. I've set them roughly to where they came off for now, but it's all going to be going for setting up afterwards anyway. But how fresh does that look? That looks really nice. I'm going to get that now onto the subframe, and yeah, it's just one more thing done, ready to go back together next week. So that's the steering rack back onto the refurbished subframe. Looks really good. What I have been able to do is get all stainless steel nuts and bolts for this, just because I don't want them rusting. They aren't high tensile, so some people might frown against them, but they're kind of stronger than mild steel, not quite as strong as high tensile bolts, but they'll be absolutely fine. What I am going to do, I couldn't find the torque settings for these bolts here, but I don't think it's critical, so I've done them up just bloody tight, and now all I'm going to do is just got myself a paint pen, and I'm just going to mark that bolt across there and up there. A lot of you will know what this is for, but if you don't, it's just so that you can do simple checks to make sure that those bolts have not come undone. So if you're doing a quick check on the car and you want to check that everything's still as it should be, as long as those lines still point, you know they haven't moved. So now I'm going to put this to one side for a bit, and I'm going to build up the drive shafts. I painted these red, and the ends, the end of the joints, just because they're going to look really nice against the black. All these boots are the original boots that were on the car. They're all in really good condition, so I'm going to reuse those. I used to have a big problem with CV grease heating up and turning to liquid and flying out everywhere, and then I discovered this stuff. It's a high temperature CV grease. Since I started using this, I've not had an issue, so well worth remembering if you've got the same issue. Mine used to literally turn into liquid and create pressure and blow out my CV boots. Again, since I've used that, I've not had an issue. And then I've just got a box of new clips, which I got off of Amazon. The outer boots back on these, repacked them with the new grease. Unfortunately, I can't put the inner CV joints on, just because, stupidly, I can't remember which one of these. Can you see there's ever such a slight difference in length? And I can't remember which one of these needs which joint on the end. I can't remember which length went on which side, so unfortunately I could probably mock everything up, the subframe and a mount maybe, and try and measure it, but it's easier just to wait. I'll wait until I start to put everything back in the car. It's not going to take me long to fire those joints on. But I'm really happy with how they're looking. This is just killing a bit of time for me. I can't do a lot because the car's up there now, drying off for the morning when I'm going to pop in and put the actual paint on. So this is just killing a little bit of time for me, putting bits like this back together and ready for next week for it all to go back together again. I cannot wait to see all this stuff on there. This is the first time I've built this car. I've built this car from scratch. But this is the first time I've took so much care and made everything look so nice and made sure everything's perfect on it. So I'm really, really excited about this because it's gonna look next level once it's all back together. Morning guys. Woke up bright and early this morning, excited like a kid at Christmas. So today, this is a big step forward for me today. It's 6 AM. I woke up at 4 and I was like, no, go back to bed, it's too early. And I thought I need to get down the workshop and I need to get some paint on this engine bay. So today's really exciting for me, I'm not gonna lie. I'm really looking forward to this, seeing this in paint. This then means that this can dry over the weekend. I'm only gonna be down here a couple of hours this morning. I'm gonna flat down this high build primer that I've put on and then leave it to dry over the weekend, ready for next week so that I can start to put everything back in. It's going to be a massive step forward, and just in my brain as well, because at the moment all I seem to be doing is taking parts off, taking more parts off. Overnight, this has had, I painted this at what, 11 o'clock yesterday, 11 o'clock in the morning yesterday. So this has had plenty of time to sit overnight. So I am going to give this a quick Scotch Brite now, just get rid of any little rough bits, and then I'm going to mix up some paint and get that on. I am painting this in 2-pack. Not really worked with 2-pack before. I've done base and lacquer and it actually came out really, really well. So I am a little bit nervous of this 2-pack this morning. I've been told to maybe put like a light dusting on first, let that flash off, and then put kind of a thicker, better covering on after that. So that's my plan, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it goes well. This primer seems to have set well overnight, which I'm pleased about. I was a little bit worried about that because this primer was very, very old, and I'm talking like, God, 4 years old. I think I bought this, and when I opened the tin, it was all kind of stuck to the bottom. I almost threw it away. I almost threw the towel in on it and went and bought some more primer, but the more I stirred it, I thought it's coming back. And I took the risk and I put it on. This would have been a very different video if I'd have been wiping paint off at 6 AM in the morning. That would have been a very, very different video. So I'm really glad that this has gone off and it looks really, really well, and it seems really, really hard. I've mixed some paint up. I'm going to put that on, and then hopefully in the next hour or so, I'm going to be showing you a very shiny engine bay. Excited. Just giving this all a really good flat down. It's actually really tidy. I'm quite happy with this. I was a little bit concerned that there was a lot of marks, certainly in this panel here, and the high build seems to have covered it, so I'm really happy about that. Whilst, as I've said before, I'm not a paintwork expert, have got a certain amount of pride. This car's going to be seen out and about, and obviously I'm posting it all over YouTube. Last thing I want is for this to look a mess and people that have seen the video kind of go, well, serves him right. Did it himself with near on zero paint experience. What do you expect? So I'm quite determined that this is going to look pretty good. So I need to just go steady with it, take my time, and I'm learning as I go along and watching YouTube videos. So I've wet the floor. I'm now just hitting all these panels just with a little bit of panel wipe, not thinners because that's a little bit too aggressive. So this panel wipe, from what I believe, will just ensure that everything's clean, free of dirt in case I've accidentally touched anything, because even the kind of oil off your skin will create kind of a reaction. Like I say, guys, remember I'm painting this in a dirty old workshop. I'm cleaning it with a blooming dishcloth, for God's sake. So I mean, how fussy can I be? But I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. Short of putting it on a trailer and taking it to someone and having it done in a spray booth, I'm doing my best. And what will be will be. It's just an engine bay at the end of the day. If I was having the outside of this thing painted, I would reassure you, I would be putting it on a trailer and I would be taking it to someone with a booth. So yeah, but for under the bonnet, I'm going to do my best. So I'm happy with that. That is the engine bay in paint. As you can see, I've got a lovely glossy finish on there. I have got a couple of small runs in it. There's a little run there. My fuel pressure regulator actually bolts on there, so you're not going to see it, but once this is dry I will flat that out. But you know what, considering this is painted in a dirty old garage, I'm pretty happy with that. This is touch dry now, so I'm going to let this harden, and then yeah, I'll be able to come back to this next week and flat and polish a couple of areas just to kind of make it that little bit better, and I'll be happy with that. As with all my videos, guys, thanks very much for watching. I'm going to go home, I'm going to edit this now into a small video, and next week you'll see me start to build this up. So thanks very much for watching. As always, if you like my video, please subscribe, like, share it about. The more people I can get watching, the better. And yeah, next week the fun starts. Next week you start to see this become a car again. It's going to look awesome. Thanks very much, guys. See you later.